Ambassador Hannah Kim walked slowly to the center of the huge meeting hall. Her black uniform with the Earth symbol would be worn for the last time today. All around her, strange alien creatures made different sounds, some clicked, others growled, and a few sang in musical tones. These were the most powerful beings in the galaxy, and they all belonged to the Galactic Council. Hannah looked calm as she spoke into the translation device. Important leaders, I am here to give you humanity's final message. The aliens found this funny. Many of them started laughing in their own ways. The Kreks were large lizard-like creatures who ruled a huge empire. Their leader, General Thorak, had many scars on his face from old battles. He made a sound like an angry snake. Another complaint from the humans? Thorak said through his translator machine. Are you here to cry about trade routes again, little creature? Behind Hannah stood two other humans in uniform. Lieutenant Minho Park and Captain Nari Lee had protected her during 3 long years of talks that never worked. They stood very straight and kept their hands behind their backs. Hannah did not let the insults bother her. She continued speaking in a clear voice. For 4 to 7 years, humans have been part of this council. We have been patient and honest. We have followed every agreement, paid every tax, and accepted every limit you put on us. Near the ceiling, a strange gas-like alien called Vex began changing colors. The translation computer said this meant he was laughing. Vex was the trade minister for the Zephyrian Consortium, a group that controlled most business in the galaxy. You humans have been paid well for following our rules, Vex said, his voice sounding like wind. Your people have done well under our guidance. Done well? Hannah asked, and now her voice had a sharp edge to it. You have trapped us in only 37 star systems. But you gave the Kreks Empire the right to expand into more than 300 systems. You have forced us to sell our valuable metals for much less than they are worth. You have said no every time we asked for permission to use the fast space routes. This forces our traders to pay huge amounts of money to use your ships instead. High above them all sat the 3 most powerful leaders in the galaxy. Elder ZYX was the oldest and strangest of them all. He belonged to the Ethereal Collective, a group of beings who could speak directly into other people's minds. He moved one of his long, thin arms in a way that meant he did not care. Young species must prove they deserve better treatment, Elder ZYX said, and his voice appeared inside everyone's head instead of coming through their ears. Your kind shows some promise, but you do not have the wisdom needed to be true citizens of the galaxy. The other aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. They had heard humans complain many times before. To them, humans were like children who did not understand how the grown-up world worked. But Hannah was not finished. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small crystal device. When she touched it, the room became very quiet. A blue light appeared in the air, showing the official symbol of Earth's government. By the vote of all Earth's leaders, and with the full power given to me by President Jiho Yoon, I now announce that humanity is leaving the Galactic Council completely. Suddenly the room exploded with noise. General Thorak roared like an angry beast. Vex's gaseous body turned bright red and orange colors that meant shock and anger. Elder ZYX's mental voice became like sharp knives cutting through everyone's thoughts. Other aliens began shouting in dozens of different languages while their translation machines tried to keep up. Hannah raised her voice above all the chaos. Also, starting right now, no alien ships are allowed in human space. All diplomatic meetings are ended. All trade agreements are cancelled. Elder ZYX's mind voice cut through the noise like a sword. You cannot be serious, human. Your people need galactic help to survive. Without our protection, other dangerous species will hunt you. Without our trade networks, your economy will fall apart within 1 year. Hannah smiled, but it was not a warm smile. It was cold and polite. With respect, Elder, I think you have completely misunderstood what humans can do and what we plan to do. She gestured to Minho and Nari, who moved to stand on either side of her as she walked toward the exit. You are making a terrible mistake, General Thorak snarled, showing his sharp claws. The Kreks will not allow such disrespect from a weak species. We may decide to teach you proper respect through force. Hannah stopped at the doorway and turned back. For just a moment, her diplomatic mask slipped away, and something much more dangerous showed in her eyes. General, she said very quietly, you have confused our patience with weakness. That mistake ends today. The 3 humans walked out, leaving the Galactic Council in complete chaos. None of the aliens noticed the tiny devices that Minho and Nari had secretly attached to the walls. These sensors would listen to all council conversations for the next 6 months. As the great doors closed behind them, the most powerful beings in the galaxy were left to wonder what they had just witnessed. They had always seen humans as weak and dependent. But now, for the first time, some of them began to worry that they might have been very, very wrong. 6 months had passed since humans left the Galactic Council. Admiral Jinwoo Choi stood by a huge window on the space station Perseus, watching another alien ship approach Earth's solar system. The station floated in space, protecting humanity's home from unwanted visitors. "Admiral, we have a ship coming," said Lieutenant Sujin Lim from her computer station. "It's a Zephyrian trading ship called Prophet's Edge. They want permission to dock at Lunar Station for important talks." "Give them the same answer we give everyone," Jinwoo said calmly. "No alien ships are allowed in human space. They can leave now or we will make them leave." Through the big window, he watched the alien ship change direction quickly. The Zephyrian vessel looked like it was made of colored gas and shiny metal threads. It was beautiful but strange. The ship rushed away toward the hyperspace jump point, just like 36 other alien ships had done this month. Behind the Admiral, the station's control room was full of quiet activity. Human control rooms were different from alien ones. Everything was neat and organized. Every computer was in the right place, and every officer knew how to use multiple machines. The aliens liked messy, complicated control rooms, but humans preferred simple and logical designs. "Admiral," called Commander Yoon Bai-han from her analysis station, "we're getting another message from the Council. Elder ZYX wants an emergency meeting with President Yoon." "Add it to the list with all the others," Jinwoo said. "How many messages have we received now?" 412 requests for talks in the past 6 months, Yoon Bai answered. Plus 27 threats from the Krex Empire and 68 trade offers from the consortium. The Admiral smiled a little. "They're getting worried." What the Galactic Council did not know was that humans were building something amazing in a secret star system called Wolf 359. Special technology hid this system from alien sensors. Machines that bent space and time made it impossible for anyone to find them. There, humanity was creating something that had never existed before. The project was called Genesis, and it would change everything. Dr. Hyun Bin Kang stood in front of a floating computer screen that showed how the construction was going. He was a very smart scientist who used to work for the Ethereal Collective 5 years ago. When he came to work for humans, he chose a human name because his original ethereal name was impossible for humans to say. "The building machines are working faster than we planned," he told the group of human scientists and engineers. "We should have the first test ships ready in 3 months." "What about the power source?" asked Dr. Mion Park, the lead engineer on Genesis. She wore simple gray work clothes like everyone else on the project. There were no special uniforms to show rank or status. In this new human society, being smart was the only thing that mattered. "The zero-point energy collectors are working at 107% of what we thought was possible," Hyun Bin said. "The Ethereals never thought their own technology could be made better." Far away on the Krex homeworld, General Thorak walked back and forth in his war room. The large lizard-like alien was very frustrated. 6 months had passed with no word from human space. His scouts could not get close enough to see what humans were doing. "How is this possible?" Thorak roared, his voice echoing off the metal walls. 6 months of complete silence. Have the humans all died? Subcommander Vrak, a smaller Krex, looked at his computer screen. "Our scout ships report that all human trade routes are empty. Their border systems show no ships, no communications, and no energy readings. Maybe their economy collapsed so fast that their whole species just died out." Thorak wondered. "Not likely, General. Our long-distance sensors detect huge energy signatures from inside human territory, but the readings are strange. Unlike anything in our databases." In the Zephyrian core worlds, Trade Minister Vex flowed nervously through the crystal hallways of the consortium's main trading center. The gas-like aliens' usual bright colors had faded to worried purples and grays. The business reports were terrible. Losing human trade had hurt galactic commerce badly. Humans had been reliable suppliers of rare metals, advanced manufacturing, and their unique problem-solving skills that made them valuable consultants throughout Council space. "The quarterly reports are devastating," said Junior Minister Flux, her gaseous form rippling with distress. 17 major trading companies have gone bankrupt. The shortage of rare metals is forcing us to negotiate with dangerous criminal groups in the Outer Rim. "And still no response from human space," Vex said sadly. "It makes no sense. No species becomes completely self-sufficient in just a few months." On Earth, in a secure meeting room beneath the World Government Building, President Jiho Yoon reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The man who had authorized humanity's withdrawal from galactic politics looked calm, but those who knew him could see the sharp intelligence in his eyes. Status report, he said simply. General Sunmi Ryu, commander of Earth's military forces, activated a floating display. Project Genesis is proceeding as planned. The new fleet will be ready in 3 months. Our intelligence confirms that the Council believes we're struggling with economic collapse. And our actual capabilities? President Yoon asked. Dr. Hyun-jo, Earth's chief science advisor, stepped forward. Mr. President, in the 6 months since we started isolation, our research teams have achieved breakthroughs that should have taken decades. Free from the restrictions imposed by Council technology sharing agreements, we've been able to pursue research that was previously forbidden. The President nodded thoughtfully. Show them nothing until we're ready. Let them believe what they need to believe. As the meeting ended, none of the participants mentioned the most important part of their strategy. Humanity's greatest advantage had never been their technology or military strength. It was their ability to be underestimated. A message came through communication channels that should not have existed. Dr. Minji-on appeared as a hologram in the private laboratory of Trade Minister Vex. Minji was a human woman who used to work for the Zephyrian Consortium as their top biology researcher. Her image flickered and had strange digital patterns, which meant the message was being sent through many hidden relay stations. Vex, she said, her voice warm despite the electronic distortion, it's good to see you again, old friend. The gas-like alien's body immediately changed to shocked blue and green colors. Minji? How is this possible? Human space has been completely silent for 8 months. Our best spies tell us your species is facing economic disaster. Minji laughed, and there was no sign of the desperation Vex expected to hear. I'm afraid your spies are not very good at their job. Can I ask you something? Do you remember when I first joined your research team 7 years ago? Of course I do. You were having trouble with basic gravity theories. Your species had just barely learned how to travel faster than light. And do you remember what you said about human intelligence? Vex's colors changed to embarrassed orange. I may have said that your people showed some promise but did not have the advanced understanding needed for complicated physics. Minji nodded, and her face became serious. That was never true, Vex. We understood the theories perfectly. We simply chose to appear less smart than we actually were. The Zephyrian's gaseous body contracted with shock. What do you mean by that? For 4 to 7 years, humanity has been taking apart and studying every piece of technology we could get through legal means and other methods. While your council argued about whether to give us hyperspace route licenses, our scientists were developing propulsion systems that don't need hyperspace at all. The hologram made a gesture, and technical diagrams appeared floating in the air between them. Vex's expert knowledge immediately recognized the mathematical principles, but the ways they were being used were unlike anything in the galactic database. This is impossible, Vex whispered, his form cycling through colors of disbelief. These energy readings would require technology that is centuries beyond what your species had just 1 year ago. Not centuries beyond what we had, Minji corrected gently. Centuries beyond what we allowed you to see us have. She activated another display, showing star maps of human space. Instead of the empty systems that Council intelligence reported, the maps showed massive construction projects, energy networks spanning multiple star systems, and technological installations that were bigger than anything in known galactic civilization. The isolation wasn't because we were desperate, Vex. It was preparation. While you've been waiting for us to collapse, we've been building something entirely new. Far away on the ethereal homeworld of transcendence, Elder ZYX sat in the chamber of eternal thought. His ancient consciousness tried to touch the quantum foam that existed beneath all reality. The ethereal collective had achieved their current power through millions of years of mental evolution, developing psychic abilities that allowed them to see truth across vast distances. But when the Elder tried to probe human space with his mind, he found something that had never happened before: complete emptiness. Not the emptiness of dead systems, but a deliberate blank spot in the fabric of space-time itself. Impossible, he whispered, his mental voice rippling through dimensions. No species had ever developed technology capable of blocking ethereal perception. Such advancement would require understanding of physics that took the ethereals millions of years to achieve. Sub-Elder Quinn appeared beside him, her mental presence flickering with concern. The humans have become invisible to us. Our most advanced senses detect only empty space where their systems should be. And yet, ZYX said thoughtfully, we know they are there. Energy readings suggest massive activity, but the readings themselves make no sense. It is as if they have developed technology that operates outside the known laws of physics. Could they have discovered something we missed in our explorations? The ancient elder's consciousness probed deeper, touching the quantum strings that connected all matter in the universe. What he found there filled him with something he had not experienced in millions of years: fear. They have not discovered something new, he said slowly. They have perfected something old. Something we abandoned as too dangerous to pursue. Meanwhile, on the Krek's homeworld, General Thorak received a report that made his blood run cold. A single Krek scout ship, the Fang of Skarn, had tried to sneak into human space using their most advanced stealth technology. The vessel had been equipped with cloaking systems that combined ethereal mental manipulation techniques and Zephyrian phase shift generators. This technology should have made it impossible for human senses to detect. The ship had returned, but the crew's report was unbelievable. "They knew we were coming, General," reported Captain Gree, the ship's commander. "Before we even entered the system, we received a transmission on frequencies that don't exist in our technology. They welcomed us by name, gave us detailed information about our ship's capabilities, and then they showed us something." "Showed you what?" Thorak demanded. "A human vessel, General. It was waiting for us at the edge of the system. But it was unlike any ship in our databases. It appeared to be made from crystallized spacetime itself, and when it moved, it didn't travel through space, General. It folded space around itself." Thorak's claws extended without his control. Human technology cannot do such things. The vessel demonstrated weapons that manipulate matter at the quantum level, defensive shields that exist in folded dimensions, and propulsion that seems to violate several fundamental laws of physics. The general stared at his subordinate for a long moment. "And they simply let you leave?" "They sent a message, General. Tell your commanders that this is the only warning they will receive. Human space is now forbidden to all non-human vessels. Any future attempts to enter will be dealt with permanently." As reports came in from across the galaxy, a picture began to emerge that terrified the established powers. Humanity had not simply withdrawn from galactic civilization. They had transcended it completely. Admiral Daeho Kim stood on the control deck of the huge Krek's warship called Eternal Conquest. This was the biggest and most dangerous ship the Krek's empire had ever built. Around him, the largest military fleet in galactic history was moving toward Earth's solar system. His officers watched computer screens that showed 847 warships flying in perfect battle formation. This was the combined power of 3 entire Krek's assault fleets. "We can see human territory now," reported Subcommander Rexon. "The humans are not answering our communications." General Thorak was on the flagship for this important moment. The scarred lizard-like alien showed his sharp teeth in excitement. "They will answer when they see what the Krek's empire has brought to their door. Keep the formation tight. Move forward." The massive fleet advanced, their engines creating a light show that could be seen from several star systems away. The Kreks had put together this huge armada not just to reopen human trade routes, but to show the entire galaxy that no small species could challenge the established order. "Contact detected," called the sensor operator. "Single ship approaching from human space." On the main screen, a ship appeared that was hard to describe. Unlike the sharp, aggressive design of Krek's vessels, the human craft looked organic. Its hull seemed to ripple and flow like liquid metal. It was about the size of a Krek's destroyer, which was tiny compared to the dreadnought Eternal Conquest that was almost 2 kilometers long. "One ship." General Thorak laughed, the sound echoing through the bridge. "They send one ship to face the greatest fleet ever assembled." The human vessel sent a message on standard diplomatic frequencies. The voice was calm, professional, and completely unconcerned. "Krek's fleet, you are violating human territorial sovereignty. You have 30 seconds to turn around and leave this system." Admiral Kim activated the fleet's communication system, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Daeho Kim of the Krek's Third Fleet. By order of the Supreme War Council, human space is now claimed as a protectorate of the Krek's empire. Surrender your vessels and prepare to be boarded." 20 seconds, came the human response. General Thorak waved his hand dismissively. "Fire a warning shot. Show them how useless resistance is." The Eternal Conquest's main plasma cannon fired. This weapon was powerful enough to crack a moon in half. The energy beam raced toward the human vessel at almost the speed of light. It never hit its target. The human ship seemed to twist sideways through dimensions that did not exist, and the plasma beam simply passed through empty space where the vessel had been a split second before. The ship reappeared in exactly the same position, completely unharmed. 10 seconds, the human voice continued, still perfectly calm. Impossible, Admiral Kim whispered. No known technology can do that. Time expired, the human transmission concluded. You were warned. What happened next would be talked about in military schools across the galaxy for centuries, though no one would ever fully understand the technology involved. The human vessel did not attack in any normal way. Instead, space around the Krex fleet began to change. The quantum foam that existed beneath reality started responding to commands that should not have been possible to give. The first effect was subtle. The Krex ship's targeting systems began showing locations that did not match what they could see. Sensors reported that enemy vessels were in front of them and behind them at the same time, above and below, in positions that made no sense in three-dimensional thinking. Navigation systems are malfunctioning, reported the helm officer, his voice rising with panic. Our position keeps changing without any engine activation. Admiral Kim watched in horror as the fleet's formation began to fall apart. Ships that had been maintaining perfect spacing suddenly found themselves occupying the same coordinates, their hulls passing through each other like ghosts. But this was not some clever holographic trick. The vessels were actually existing in multiple spatial positions at the same time. Weapons systems offline, called the tactical officer. No, correction. Weapons systems are working, but spacetime around our target keeps folding. Our firing solutions are calculating for target positions in 11 different dimensions. The human vessel remained motionless throughout this display, serving as a fixed reference point in an increasingly chaotic spatial environment. On the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, General Thorak watched his mighty fleet being rendered helpless without a single shot being fired. Then the human ship demonstrated its offensive capabilities. A beam of coherent energy shot out toward the nearest Krex destroyer, but this was not plasma or particle weaponry. The beam seemed to rewrite the fundamental properties of matter itself. Where it touched the destroyer's hull, the advanced metal armor simply stopped being armor. The molecular bonds changed into harmless atmospheric gases, leaving the ship's structure intact but completely defenseless. They are not destroying us, Admiral Kim realized with growing horror. They are demonstrating that they could destroy us anytime they choose. Across the fleet, ships found their engines mysteriously offline. Not damaged, but temporarily converted into harmless sculptures. Weapon systems transformed into art installations. Life support systems continued working perfectly, but communication arrays began broadcasting poetry in languages that had not been invented yet. The demonstration lasted exactly 17 minutes. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the spatial distortions stopped. The Krex fleet found themselves back in normal space, their ships restored to full functionality. But now they were no longer at the edge of the Sol system. They were drifting in empty space, 3 light-years away from human territory. A final transmission reached them from the lone human vessel, which had somehow followed their involuntary relocation. Admiral Kim, General Thorak, you have experienced a fraction of humanity's current defensive capabilities. Your fleet has been relocated outside our territorial boundaries as a gesture of goodwill. Any future military attacks on human space will not be met with such restraint. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was complete chaos. Representatives from every major species were shouting, clicking, singing, and projecting their panic in dozens of languages while translation machines worked frantically to keep up. At the center of it all, the 3 most powerful leaders, Elder ZYX, General Thorak, and Trade Minister Vex, sat in shocked silence. Order. Elder ZYX's mind voice finally cut through the noise. We must have order. General Thorak, his scarred lizard skin showing fresh stress marks, stood to speak to the assembly. Fellow delegates, the Krex Empire's military mission has confirmed our worst fears. The humans have developed technology that is better than anything in our databases. They moved 847 warships across 3 light-years in minutes, without firing a single destructive shot. The chamber exploded with noise again. Delegate Kryn of the Healer Alliance, her crystal body ringing with distress, spoke for many others. If they have such power, why haven't they attacked us? Why haven't they conquered us all? Because, came a familiar voice from the chamber's main entrance, that has never been humanity's way. Every head, tentacle, sensor cluster, and consciousness turned toward the speaker. Ambassador Hannah Kim walked calmly down the central aisle, with Lieutenant Minho Park and Captain Nari Lee walking beside her. But now their uniforms had new symbols that represented not just Earth, but the entire human stellar collective. The three humans approached the speaking platform with the same calm dignity they had shown during years of failed negotiations. But now the power balance had completely changed, and everyone in the chamber could feel it. Honored delegates, Hannah began, her voice carrying easily through the suddenly quiet chamber. I bring greetings from President Yoon and the people of humanity. We have received your requests for renewed diplomatic contact. Elder ZYX leaned forward, his ancient consciousness carefully probing around the human delegation. What he found there made his mental voice shake. You have learned to shield your thoughts from ethereal perception. Impossible. That knowledge took us millions of years to develop. Hannah smiled with genuine warmth. Nothing is impossible, Elder ZYX. It simply requires dedication, patience, and the willingness to learn from teachers who believe you cannot learn. Trade Minister Vex's gaseous form rippled through worried purple colors. Ambassador Kim, our economic models show that complete isolation of human space has created terrible disruption in galactic trade. Surely your people must be experiencing similar difficulties. On the contrary, Hannah replied, gesturing to activate a holographic display that appeared in the chamber's center. Human space has become completely self-sufficient. Our scientists have developed manufacturing processes that convert basic matter directly into any required materials. Energy is no longer scarce. Resource limitations are obsolete. The display showed star charts of human territory as it actually existed, not the empty systems that Council Intelligence had reported. The assembled delegates gasped as they saw vast construction projects spanning entire solar systems, energy networks that were bigger than anything the galaxy had ever seen, and technological installations that seemed to reshape space itself. More importantly, Hannah continued, we have had time to think about our experiences within this council. 4 to 7 years of patience, compromise, and good faith negotiations. 4 to 7 years of being treated like naive children who needed guidance from their betters. Her tone remained perfectly diplomatic, but her words cut through the chamber like a blade. The Krex Empire gave itself expansion rights to 300 systems while restricting humanity to 37. The Zephyrian Consortium imposed trade sanctions that cost our people trillions of credits in lost revenue. The Ethereal Collective dismissed our territorial claims because we were too young to understand proper boundaries. General Thorax shifted uncomfortably, his claws scraping against his seat. Ambassador, those decisions were made for the good of galactic stability. Were they? Hannah's question hung in the air. Because from our perspective, they look remarkably like the strong taking advantage of the weak. The old exploiting the young. The established powers making sure that newer species never threaten their dominance. She gestured again, and the holographic display changed to show economic data, territorial maps, and resource allocations that painted a devastating picture of systematic exploitation. We have learned much during our isolation, Hannah continued. We have learned that every primitive species in this galaxy possesses unique innovations that are systematically acquired by the major powers. We have learned that the Outer Rim territories are kept deliberately underdeveloped to serve as resource extraction zones. We have learned that galactic civilization is built on a foundation of carefully maintained inequality. The chamber fell into absolute silence. Several minor species delegates exchanged glances that spoke volumes. And so, Hannah said, humanity is prepared to offer new terms for galactic cooperation. Elder ZYX's mental voice carried disbelief. You would dictate terms to us? To the species that have maintained galactic order for millions of years. We prefer to think of it as offering an alternative, Hannah replied gently. You may continue as you have, maintaining your current systems of exploitation and control. But you will do so without any access to human technology, human space, or human cooperation. She activated another display showing the true extent of human technological advancement. Propulsion systems that folded space-time, manufacturing processes that operated at the quantum level, defensive capabilities that made conventional warfare obsolete. Alternatively, you may choose to participate in a new galactic order. One based on genuine equality, fair resource distribution, and mutual respect. One where a species' age does not determine their voice in galactic affairs. President Yoon's voice came through the chamber's communication system, transmitted from Earth. The choice is yours, honored delegates. Humanity seeks no conquest, no revenge, no dominance over others. We seek only what we should have received from the beginning, respect, equality, and the chance to contribute to galactic civilization as true partners. You have 48 hours to decide, Hannah concluded. After that, we will begin implementing the new galactic order with or without your participation. The minor species deserve better than they have received. The exploited deserve justice. The young deserve opportunity. The vote, when it came, was unanimous. Not because the established powers wanted change, but because they finally understood what humanity had always known. True strength lay not in the ability to dominate others, but in the courage to stand up for what was right.